In a quiet village tucked between whispering woods and soft hills, there lived a man named Luca, who walked with heavy steps and heavier thoughts. It was October 12th, 1995. The air smelled like cold leaves and the kind of rain that holds back until night. Luca was 28, but he felt older. His face still looked young, but his spirit was worn thin. He was chasing a treasure, any treasure, gold coins, a rare gem, some hidden chest in the forest, anything that could make him rich. Because deep down, he wasn't just chasing money, he was chasing a wound. A year before, the love of his life, Mia, had left him. Her words were sharp, final.
You're not enough. I need someone with money,
she said. And just like that, she walked out of his life and into someone else's. She left him not just broke, but broken. So Luca walked, restless, searching not just for riches, but for proof that he was worth more than what she saw, that he could be somebody, that her leaving wasn't the end of his story. The villagers noticed his footsteps getting longer, faster, more desperate. One old woman nodded toward the hill and said,
"Go see Nora, she found her treasure. Maybe she can help."
Luca had heard of Nora, a woman who once had nothing and now lived in the grandest house on the hill. They said she was rich beyond imagination. So, with a little hope and a lot of doubt, Luca walked toward the glowing windows that looked like firelight and gold from a distance. Nora opened the door herself. She was 72, with hair like fresh snow and hands that looked like they could still carry mountains. Her house was quiet, but full of beautiful things: soft rugs, silver lamps, books that smelled of old secrets. There were flowers blooming in her garden, even though winter was close. But her eyes looked like a sky that had once been full of stars, now just clouds and space. She welcomed him in, sat him by the fire, poured him a warm drink. Then, without needing to ask why he was there, she began to tell him a story. "I was once like you," she said, "chasing something I couldn't name." Nora had grown up in a small town by the sea. Her parents made bread and fixed fishing nets. They were kind, simple people. But Nora always wanted more. Not more money, not more things, just something that sparkled, something rare. She dreamed of finding the most beautiful stone in the world. One day when she was 20, she found a small red rock on the beach. It was smooth and warm in her hand. It wasn't the stone, not even close, but it lit something in her, a hunger, a promise. "I'll find it," she told herself, "no matter what." So she left home. Her parents stood by the door, worried but quiet, as she walked away. She crossed mountains so high her breath froze. She walked through deserts where the sun burned her feet through her shoes. She searched riverbeds until her hands cracked and bled, and she found stones, hundreds of them, blue ones, clear ones, stones like tiny moons, but never the stone. Life passed while she was looking. A man named Sam loved her once. He had kind eyes and a smile that felt like sunlight. He asked her to stay, build a home, grow a life together. But Nora said no. She had heard of a glowing gem hidden in the snowy hills of Norway, and that dream pulled harder than love. Sam married someone else, had 2 children, grew old with someone who said yes instead of maybe. Nora kept going. She got a chance to work in a fancy shop in the city, stitching coats for rich people. It paid well. It would have given her a bed to sleep in and food to eat. But then someone told her about a cave in Africa full of jewels. She used her last savings on a boat ticket. The cave was empty, no gems, just dirt and dust and disappointment. Her sister called her when their father got sick. "Come home," she begged. Nora promised she would. After one more trip, she was digging in a forest when her father passed. She missed his last breath. She missed her sister's wedding too. Eventually, they stopped calling. Friends moved on. Birthdays came and went. Nora was still chasing. At 50, people laughed at her, called her crazy. The stone woman, they said, still looking? But she didn't stop. At 60, her back hurt every day. Her hair turned silver. She didn't know where home was anymore, but she still believed. She still dreamed. And then, one morning, 3 years ago, in a rocky valley in Montana, she saw it. A simple, rough grey stone near the river. It didn't shine. It didn't sparkle. But something about it felt different. She picked it up, cracked it open, and inside was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. Purple, deep and glowing. Threads of gold running through it, light dancing in the cracks. She cried. For the stone, for all the years, for all the things she gave up. She sold it for a fortune, more money than she ever thought she'd see. She bought this house, filled it with everything she'd once only imagined. But when she sat at her table at night, surrounded by beauty, it was silent. No laughter, no voices, no one to pass the bread to, no one to share the story with. "I found my treasure," she said, "but I lost everything else along the way." Luca listened, silent. Then Nora stood and opened a small wooden box. Inside were 3 things: a candle, a paper boat, and a tiny seed. "Take these," she said. "Go home, use them tonight. Come back tomorrow." So Luca did. The next day he returned, holding the empty candle holder, a wet piece of paper, and a small cup with dirt.
The candle burned bright,
He said.
then it melted away. The boat floated for a while, then sank. The seed didn't change much, but I planted it, and I think it'll grow.
Nora nodded. "That's life," she said. "Some people are like candles. They shine, then disappear. Some are like boats. They drift but sink when things get hard. But some are seeds. They take time. They push through dirt, but they grow, and they last." She looked at him with eyes full of both sadness and hope. "I chased my dreams so hard I didn't notice what I was leaving behind. Don't do the same. Be the seed, Luca. Grow slowly. Keep love close. The world will always try to sell you gold, but the real treasure, it's not what you can hold, it's who you hold." Luca didn't say much. He didn't need to. He stood, nodded, and left. The wind tugged at his coat as he walked down the hill, but his steps felt lighter. Nora watched from the window, alone again in her golden house. The stone had made her rich, but maybe, just maybe, her story had made someone else wise. We all dream of something bigger, more money, more success, something that proves we matter. But sometimes, while chasing what we think we want, we lose what we actually need. Love, time, family, warm hands and shared mornings. Riches can fill your pockets, but they can't fill your chair at dinner. So ask yourself, when you finally find your treasure, will there be anyone left to share it with?